Hello guys, today we'll discuss regarding the Parquet file format and we'll try to understand Parquet file format through the prism of one business use case. Before going on to the business use case, so these are the topic we have to cover. First we'll talk about the value of the storage for data, and then we'll talk about the columnar and row based data storage. Third topic will cover hybrid approach for data store, and then we'll discuss what is the Parquet file format, then important point about the Parquet file, Parquet optimization technique, and then we'll talk about the Parquet internal design, and we'll talk about some of the R&D values, metadata, and the encoding schema. So let's start one of the business use case, and then we'll understand through that. In this example, we are taking connected vehicle for driving fleet, and each truck have the telemetry device attached. So real-time data they are sending, and based on the data, we are going to improve the driver habit. So once we say about the driver habit, let's say we want to see how many brakes he is using, how much speed he is using on the particular road, right? So that way the data will be helpful, and future we can train and make sure that he does right driving, and which helps the organization and the truck. Same time, right, we also use this device real-time data which is coming from the trucks to see how soon we can do a servicing, so these trucks will be available on the market very soon. So the example, let's say for example they have some error code which is coming out of the telemetry device, so service station will know which parts they need to be ready, and once that truck comes into the service center, immediately they will fix that issue, and then truck will be available for the work. So that way we can improve the efficiency of the truck. Same way for the dispatch. Let's say for example I have some item moving from a place to b place, then a place I can scan the item, the data will be stored, and then once you reach to b location, that also is data get scanned, and we know how the efficiently the dispatch is happening. Also, let's say in between truck gets some kind of damage, so nearby truck can reach and they can unload the data, and they can move stuff into time onto a b location. So these kind of efficiency of the dispatch can helpful, that data can be helpful. Same way we are talking about the maintenance notice, so driver in dashboard they can see what kind, how soon they need to go for the service, so trucks on the good condition, right? So that way we are using leveraging the data to improve the efficiency of the trucks. So once we are talking about the data, but definitely we have to collect this number of data into the our storage. So that's where storage makes a very important part, right? So if you are getting real-time data from let's say we have thousands of trucks are running across the US, and every trucks are sending real-time data, so that means we are getting maybe in terabyte or petabyte of data, right? So we have to make sure that we have efficient and we are storing data in a cost effective manner. So take example, let's say for example we are storing in the CSV. So if we compare with the CSV with other, let's say we are talking here the Parquet, right? What comparison means, how much space that CSV is taking, or maybe a JSON is taking compared to the Parquet. As per industry analysis, it seems that Parquet is more compressed and efficient in the data processing using the Spark. Also, it takes less space in the storage. So that way, for a developer, right? So he has to run fast query and also optimize the storage. So that's where storage matters. So we have to be we have to make sure that what kind of file we are landing, and what format we are storing. So once we talk about the Parquet, in next slides we will give more clarity that Parquet is the very helpful here to store the data, maybe terabyte and petabyte of data, and also it is very efficient for querying the data. So let's go to the next slide. This slide will talk about the storage matters. Previous slide we talked about billions of records or millions of records are coming every day, and we have to store them. Those may be a text file, maybe image, maybe JSON. All these data is going to dump in the storage. If you don't have the proper file format, so that will directly hit on the query performance. If it is hitting the query performance, it is directly hitting the dollar value. So that's where developer have to invest more hours. If you are investing more hours, it is more costly. So we have to come up with the optimized technique where we are using data and also storing in the very optimized file format where developers can query very fast. So that's where we are talking storage matters, because if you grow that storage and we don't have the optimized technique or optimized file format, that can be a a big challenge and it will directly hit our budget. Example, you don't have the big data and the small data set you have. Maybe you are storing data in Excel sheet, you are doing some kind of reporting on the Excel sheet, or small data set is there. Maybe it is efficient and it's flexible, and learning curve is not that high, right? So anyone who has some knowledge on the MS Office, they can use the Excel sheet and they can store the data or text file. So let's say, for example, in office we are doing some kind of notes in office, and we are storing that in text file or some other means. So that is more flexible, so we can easily use that. But coming on the big data, which we talked in last example, right, one of the truck example, once we are talking about the big data set, then we have to see whether CSV or the text is the right approach, or the JSON is the right approach, or shall we go to more efficient and performance oriented kind of file format. So if you are talking about the Parquet, right? Parquet is the more efficient and it is more performance oriented. So top of the Spark, we can do the query and we can retrieve the result very fast. And we can process this data. We can do top of that analytics on that data set, and also we can generate a report. So in this case, right, if you're looking for more efficient and storage and performance oriented, and in our suggestion, you go for the Parquet. If you are using a normal or kind of operation day-to-day activity, then text and CSV makes sense in that case. I hope this will give some idea about the Parquet file format. So before discussing the Parquet in detail, right? So let's understand what is the columnar based storing and what is the row based, and what is the advantage on that, right? And then we'll discuss what is the OLAP and OLTP, which are best in this scenario. This scenario, we have taken an example. Okay, we have the employee table. So employee table, I have employee ID, employee name, and employee salary. These are the three columns we are talking here. So if we are going to store this in row wise, so how it will look like? So let's take example here. So let's say employee ID 11, and then I have the name Alex, and employee salary 3000, and next record I have 22, then name is Steve, and 6000, 33, Luke is the name, and then 4000. If you are going to store data into raw format, it will look like that. It would look like this. So let's say, for example, if I want to do insert or update a particular record, in that case, row based approach makes sense. So if any kind of operation, if I'm talking about the insert or update, then storing a data in row based in our file and the storage, these operations are very fast, right? So that sense, if you are talking about the online transaction processing, especially the OLTP, this is the best approach we have to go, and we will get more efficient result. Now let's say if I want to store this in columnar format, let's say how it will look like. Let's say, for example, employee ID 11, then I have 22, and then 33, then name Alex, Steve, Luke, and 3000 salary, 6000, 4000. So this is our columnar format. We can store data in the disk in this format. The advantage of this column format is that, let's say tomorrow we are doing some kind of analytics top of this data. For example, a scenario comes where business users are interested to get a, or IT team is interested to get a total salary of the employee. So then what will happen? You can go in this column and you can add all these three, any aggregation function, whether it's a sum or maybe average, min, max. All these operation will be easy because you are focusing on the particular column, and then you are retrieving a aggregation, you are applying a aggregation function, you are getting a result. So in this case, let's say, for example, if you are doing a sum, so basically total 13,000 suppose. So if this kind of operation is there, then columnar is the best approach. It is more efficient to get a result. So once we talk about the OLAP, so analytic processing. So once we are talking about the OLAP, columnar approach is more efficient, which gives the fast query result out of this data set. But downside is that, right? So let's say, for example, I have to select multiple columns and those column petabytes of data is there, multiple columns we have to select, and most of these column maybe some are in middle, some are in end, so that head movement is more costly. So in this case, this column oriented approach will not be a better option. Or maybe tomorrow I want to do some kind of insert update. So if you are taking a columnar approach, it is very slow. It's slow compared to the row based approach, right? So both approach, if you see row based approach or the columnar, they have some advantage and they have some disadvantages. So row based advantage is that any kind of insert update delete is very fast. We can do that easily. But if you are doing the same kind of operation in the columnar format, that is not efficient. Now if you are talking purely on the some kind of aggregation function, whether it's a sum, average or min, these kind of operations are very fast in the column oriented database, or maybe storage, or storage, right? So that will help actually to understand where the OLAP and OLTP are helpful. I hope this columnar approach and the row based you got the understanding. Now